When I and my brother were boys, we roomed together, and especially I think Saturdays, my parents would allow us to sleep in a little bit, but inevitably the time came when it was time to get up. And my mother would come in first. She'd poke her head in the door. She'd say, "Good morning. It's time to get up." "Oh, no, Mom, no." She'd keep doing it. It was very effective. Until we finally said, okay, we're getting up, we'll get up. And then she would leave, and if we still goofed around and didn't get up, then she sent my dad in with his drill sergeant voice and finally got us up. Get up! The prophet Isaiah today is having a vision of what will be like after the end of time. So he's even speaking beyond the time of Jesus, the time of salvation. A new Jerusalem, the Lord's house, will be established as the highest mountain. He shall judge between the nations that beat their swords into plowshares, spears into pruning hooks. No more war, no more conflict, peace forever. And then Jesus tells us that the Son of Man, referring to himself, will come again, the end of time. And the world will come to an end. But we don't know when. And he says, this is what you do. In the meantime, this is what you need to do. Stay awake, therefore. Through St. Paul, he says, the hour has come for us to wake from sleep. In the gospel, Jesus says, therefore, stay awake. By the way, you might have noticed in the gospel where it says two men will be standing in the field, one will be taken, the other left. There's no such thing as rapture. That's not a rapturing of true believers that to be left. It's not scriptural. It's a way of saying it's going to come suddenly. We don't know when it's going to happen. Either when we die, although we can get a better idea of when that's going to be for us, unless something happens suddenly. But when the world ends and there's the final judgment, we don't know when that's going to happen. So stay awake. We know that this doesn't meant to be literally staying awake, unlike Caribou Coffee. Life is short. Stay awake for it. This waking from sleep and staying awake is being awake or aware of God's presence now, in every moment, and his action in our lives. God is always doing something in our lives. And I don't know about you, but if he's doing that, I certainly don't know about it. I need to be reminded and need to find ways to grow in staying awake, being aware of that. Each year we receive this reminder that the end of our lives is going to come. And the Lord is going to come again. And also to grow deeper and more aware of what the Lord is doing in our lives. What will you do this Advent to grow in this wakefulness or this awareness of the Lord? So one of the things, I'll just, if you don't mind, give you a few recommendations. We do have the giving tree. It's a wonderful way. Give alms. It's a penitential season, penitential light compared to Lent. So giving alms is a great way. Grab a tag from the giving tree and give to those people who need. It's an excellent thing to do. There's also some things that are built right into the Mass. Every Mass and we try to do it a little bit more in Advent, times of silence. So these are designed to be in the Mass, times of silence. The time in between the readings, where there's silence and the reader is walking back or walking up. The time after the homily, to be silent. There is a time after communion. We have a little more time for silence. And these are designed to be there. And it's to be silent is difficult. It's not easy. It's one of the things that I'm actually doing for Advent is reading a book called Catholic Mindfulness. So that I can, because my mind, especially when things get quiet, my mind races. All kinds of things going through my mind. I can't hear anything. I can't listen. I can't pay attention. Sometimes I'll be talking to somebody, and after a few moments, or they're talking to me. You ever had this experience? They're like, I have no idea what you just said. Or driving somewhere, and it's like, oh, I arrived. I don't remember anything. I hope I didn't go through any red lights, you know. So it's not easy because our minds often, and I think this is the way, maybe it's of this time, just our culture, but it's not easy to be silent. But I invite you to try to work at it in those silent times at Mass, to just try to be in the moment. Listen to the silence, or listen to the beauty of a child screaming, or Googling, or playing in the pew or something. Just be in the moment. And the Lord will do things, and He'll show us things. Help us to be more aware, to be more awake of His presence and what He's doing in our lives. This weekend, the Stewardship Committee, their idea was to give out Advent candles. Well, this is the third Mass, and after those first two Masses, they're all gone. So maybe there'll be some more for you next week. But it's a beautiful tradition to take these home like this, smaller, and bring them to the domestic church, as we call it, the home, and pray with your family each week. There's a prayer that goes along with it. Next week, we're also going to have this formed app, sign up if you haven't already signed up for it. Wonderful things on there. There's also the school is marketing an app called Hallow. There's a lot of good information on there about helping us to awaken. They're tools to help us awaken to the Lord in our life and respond to His daily care for us so that we can cooperate with Him more. That's where what our happiness is living in the Lord's presence. Next Saturday morning, we have a little retreat. I invite you to come to that. Father Jeff Heward will be here and speak to us, and then there'll be opportunity for prayer and confessions afterwards. St. Paul names some sins that cause us to miss the Lord's presence and His love in our lives. There'll be more times for sacramental confession, to receive that grace during Advent, to knock away some of those spiritual and moral cobwebs that keep us from being awake to the Lord. We'll take a few moments right now just to be silent and to listen to what most comes to your hearts and minds to do, to stay awake, and to receive the Lord's presence one moment at a time.